very excited to talk to you today because this actually messed me up more than others because I kind of grew up in this world, luchador, and that that kind of unknown that you just don't have sometimes when you're in down south and you're trying to figure out what's happening, and people are kind of trying to go through things. And then also when some of the people look like people who are in your family, that messes you up a little bit as well. So there's definitely some levels in there for sure too. So I guess let's the best way to do this, especially with a short, is I want you to kind of if you can explain the story best. That way I know how much I can talk about things too. So if you can explain it before you had visuals or anything else, when a friend came to you and said, "Tell me about this," how did you explain it?
Whew. Well, first of all, I always say, well, first warning is when you do get to watch this, definitely don't be eating anything. You can't have any food of any kind. You will lose. But definitely, this is a very different take on a Mexican Texas chainsaw. Imagine this as what happens in border town. When you cross the border wanting a better life, we follow Armando and his family illegally crossing for that better life. But little did Armando know that he was going to encounter himself the greatest familia of gore of all time, and would have to fight the most deadliest luchador along the way. That's the best way I'll say it.
No, and I understand it, and I can say right now that this family has some issues. And this is something where you don't understand where this started. Is this a generational thing? There's so many questions that come up with this too. Not only that, but there had to be a point where he was making this belt, and you're like, the rest of the family was like, "Oh, that's a good idea. We should, yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. That's a great belt. We should kind of give you the title of that." So yeah, I was definitely thrown for a loop a little bit when it came to this too. Can you tell about I guess deciding to do this story, and also do you have any background in lucha, or just something you loved already and you kind of you thought it'd be a fun mashup, or how did that work out?
No, I mean, well, I'm from Mexico City, so I definitely have it in my blood. And now living in Canada, definitely through filmmaking is how I stay close to my roots. So I love making all these horror stories with a Latino crazy Mexican twist. So when I read the book of what El Gigante is based on, is called Muerte con Carne, which means death with meat. I read it by Shane McKenzie, and man, it had everything I could ever dream for: luchadores, gore, horror, tacos. Yes, tacos, everything. I was like, this is the most Gigi story I've ever read. And so I showed it to my team, and I said, guys, I have in my hands what we're making next. So when they all read it, we all agreed that the short should be chapter one of the book. So what you saw is the first chapter of the novel. And we kind of, thought, well, it's a great standalone short,
Right.
and it's a great calling card of a proof of concept for El Gigante, the future. El Gigante, the franchise, it just, that's kind of how it all came to be. And I've grown up in Mexico City. My dad would take me to
Yeah.
luchador fights, to the coolest ones when I was a kid, and they are heroes. They are our Batman, our Superman. For us Mexican kids over there, they're the ones we look up to. So ever since El Santo and Blue Demon, I still have a lot of my stuff and swag from a kid. So
Wow.
yeah,
So
so it's really cool to do a short film, but in my genre, which is horror. So it was
right.
awesome to tackle it. Yeah.
So are there some lucha masks somewhere in the closet somewhere? Is that what you're saying? Some leftovers of there?
Oh yeah, you should see my because my office is my basement. I was like, "Mom, Dad, I'm stealing the basement." And the entire wall, I wish I was there right now, but the entire wall is just a bunch of masks of luchador masks, and at the end of the wall is El Gigante. So it's fun.
Well, the fun thing about this is in a very Texas Chainsaw kind of way, you did not shy away from blood or dirt.
No,
So tell me
never.
about explaining the look to your actors and what they're gonna have to do, because there's a lot of tactile moments, let's say.
Yeah. Well, look, the moment I saw for the first time Devil's Rejects, I was just starting film school and I had never heard of Rob Zombie in my life ever. And I suddenly saw Devil's Rejects, and that was the first film that I could truly feel the grime and the sweat. And I needed to shower so badly after that movie. I just felt so nasty. I wanted that feeling for El Gigante. I, although I'm a big fan of Texas Chainsaw, we had that greediness. I wanted the actors to just have this layer of dirt, like it's just even on the camera, just this layer of grime, and I wanted that feeling for when people watch it to just walk out and be like, oh, wakala, like gross.
Right.
So definitely that was the goal, and I think ever since then, actors just know if you're gonna work with Gigi, you best bring another pair of socks. Actually,
Right.
bring another pair of everything because you're not going to
Maybe a
know.
tetanus shot too while you're at it, just in case too.
Yeah, and then the amount of blood. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you noticed. We definitely got in a lot of trouble because we shot this at my school,
Oh.
and it's because of
Ooh.
us. And I take this as the best compliment in the world. It's because of us. Students are not allowed to use blood in the studio anymore. So that was the moment I knew we made something very special.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you push the boundaries. I was part of a film set once, and we decided to do it at the guy's work, and he didn't tell them that they were going to do a sex scene in the work bathroom until everyone saw it later on, and they're like, "That's our bathroom. What are you doing?" Like, yo. Not only that, but the girl in the scene worked with him at that office as well, so there was a lot of things happening.
Okay. That's a way to make people remember for sure.
um, so, one of these things you were saying, this is the first part of this story too. So, when it came to, kind of create the look, create the place, and on all this stuff too, what was your main thought? Like, how did your team come together to kind of create, what was in your mind?
No, definitely. Look, I got to give a lot of credit to the writer of the novel, Shane McKenzie, because the way he writes is so descriptive. It really made my job easy as a director to fully understand what this world looks like. Uh, so definitely talking to all departments on what this arena is going to look like, what their outfits are going to look like. It made my job really, really easy because in that novel, it truly was so descriptive of how nasty this place is. And the one character actually that wasn't in the book that I made up is Chango, the little monkey sidekick dude at the bottom of this picture. That was the only thing that, I said to the novelist, to the writer, I said, "Hey, dude, in our culture, we need our little person. We need our sidekick on that luchador ring. Would you be down that we make this another person, another part of the family?" And he said yes. So definitely creating that character, that half monkey, half human person, made a big, big difference. So that was a ton of fun. Everything was built in the most do-it-yourself, cheap kind of way.
No, that's awesome.
Just
And
to
that's the
actually
beauty of
make it
horror. Yeah.
that exactly. So it really but it also it gives it a that aesthetic of gritty as well when
Right.
things are not properly properly built. And our producer was like, "Well, we can't afford to rent a wrestling ring. I'll build it." And we're all like, how are you going to build it? Like, we don't even know how to help you." And he's like, "Well, I work," as we all knew, he worked at the tire shop. He's like, "I'm just going to borrow." He's like, "I'm just going to borrow 6 of the semi tires, of those big
Wow.
giant semi tires, lay them out, and I'm just going to put some plywood on top, nail it, and you got a big bouncy floor for the actors. I'm like, sounds dangerous and I love it. Let's do it. So so that's we were just building that set with whatever we could find. Um yeah.
No, that's rad, and that's what horror is all about. Horror is really about passion more than anything else out there. I mean, the only other thing I could liken it to would be documentaries when you're following that much deep and down a hole. Like horror
Yeah.
and documentaries are the ones where you have to do it because of love, and that's where you kind of like you're finagling. I mean, I know horror people who are like, my whole kitchen is currently covered in like plaster and fake blood, and I have like 5 quarts of fake blood that wasn't good enough, so I had to throw it away, but I don't know where to throw it away. And so it's like all this stuff that they're kind of going through. So there's different levels too. So I love this film. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's like the ojos. I have eyes. I mean, the hills have ojos, right? Is that the theories like right there? That's true. That's where it's got to be. So it's insane. So the last thing I have to ask is this, and this is going to be something where if you haven't seen it yet, go see it because we're going to get into a little bit of spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen it, stop right now. Go watch it. Come back. So right now, for spoilers, I have to say, being Mexican, part of me is like, oh, I never know where the meat's coming from. Now this is really gonna make me think. Like you never know where the meat's coming from. Even if you're outside of Staples Center and you're about to go into the Lakers and the hot dog there, you still don't know where that meat's coming from.
Well, the rule we got in Mexico is if you're unsure of the tacos you're buying on the street is give some to the stray dogs, and
Right.
if they eat it, you're good. If they don't eat it, then you're eating human or you're eating dog. That's always been the saying, that if you want to test out your meat, try with the stray dog right beside you.
Or you're gonna make a dog that loves eating human meat from now on, apparently.
All right, you got me there. You got
Right.
me
Well,
there.
and there's the problem is too that, as we all know, sometimes it's the jankiest little taco stand that is the best. So like you want to try them out, but then again, you don't know because familia right here, they could be serving up some extra stuff that you're like, why is there a toenail in this? I don't understand why there's in this taco. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. My dad's always like, look for the ones that have the big piece of wood that they've been cutting all the meat there for
Right.
years. They got all that nice extra salt on their hands of not washing them. That's
Right.
the tacos I want to eat. I was like, perfect, Dad. Thank you. Thank you.
I also have to say I like the fact that the way you shot it, almost it gives you that little bit of hope. That hope that he was going to get up, he was going to try something was going to happen. And so that was a lot of fun too, because you never knew, like you thought, well, is he going to turn around? Is it going to be like his little hero moment or something's going to happen? And at the end, it was just like, no, you're a weak little dude. It ain't going to happen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. When you fight against one of the rudos, you're done, baby. That's it. Like that's the rule of the luchador, right? But it's funny you bring that up because we kept bouncing back and forth. We were like, well, I mean, it is only chapter 1. It's a standalone short.
Right.
Maybe we should let him win. Maybe we should sympathize with him. 5 seconds later, we're like, nah, fuck it. He should die. And then my producer was like, well, I have an idea how to fix this. He's like, let's put in the necklace from the beginning of the little girl, right? Let's put it on the belt, on the thing. And then we were all like, Rainer, you're making it that much more tragic that the child died. And he's like, yeah, but at least now we're connecting the family, right? So now it's really devastating. And we're
Right.
like, okay, perfect. Yes, let's be even meaner. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, let's do that. So
Well, if you think about it now, you're having a family picnic with two families, right? Really.
exactly.
Both families are there already, and then everyone's yeah. So that's a good way to look at it too. You kept them all together, one way or the other too. The other problem I have is the fact that being Mexican, I have eaten tripas and a bunch of other stuff out there too. So at the same time as I'm glorified, I am also a little bit hungry. So I have to something I have to probably deal with myself as well too, right? Because
You might be the first person to say that after El Gigante. Everyone's always like, all right, no carnitas for me for years. I'm like, really?
Oh,
I'm so
come on. If you, oh, it's not just carnitas out there though. If you're eating like eating lengua or tripas or different things like that, you're eating some stuff out there, and you like it's already questionable in someone's mind. So I guess it's just
yeah. Hey,
which way you're going. But yeah, I'm gonna stay away from the family meats, and I'll stay close to pork and beef. Let's just go with that too. So
pretty much.
yeah, yeah,
Always take a second smell when you try abuela's menudo. Because you don't
right,
know which cousin got in trouble. He
right.
might be in there. So
That's why I do pozole. I do pozole, and that way
thank
I
you.
know, and that way I look at it like, no, that's good meat. Look at all the good meat in there. I don't
That's
need
right.
things with. I don't need meat. I don't need things I'm going to eat with ridges on them. They don't need to have ridges. Let's stop that thing. That whole idea. So yeah. Well, I want to thank you very much. My headphone things was kind of falling here. I want to thank you very much for talking today, and I look forward to seeing. Hopefully, you get a chance to expand and go out. Like I said, make it. Get more chapters. Netflix is always looking for new anime as well. So maybe you can kind of they did that with seis manos. Was it or six
Oh,
hands?
that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
seis manos. You're right.
yeah, with Danny Trejo and everything too. So there's definitely opportunities out there to kind of expand, and horror is definitely one of those genres where you can kind of create so much. So it's pretty awesome. So I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for everyone to watch this too. And more importantly, I'm excited to I guess give you the opportunity to be your own version of Rob Zombie and himself too. So right,
Yeah, that's the best compliment, dude. Thank you so much.
for sure, for
And
sure.
the dream is to make El Gigante the feature. So I will not stop until everyone has their little Gigante action figure. That is the day. We have to do it.
Right,
So
you got to be at Comic Con next to the it table needs to be the El Gigante table right there too, right?
perfect.
Yeah. So
You're
you gotta
my
yeah.
favorite, dude. You're my favorite.
Well, I'm a
So
I'm a nerd for all this stuff, so I've done it. I've interviewed Rob Zombie a couple different times as well, and so I know how he works, and I very much am a fan when it comes to horror done right. Because as we know, there are a lot of shortcuts and people who don't even pay attention to what they're doing anymore, and that's kind of the thing. That's my biggest problem with horror is the fact that people don't take it as seriously as they would a drama or comedy or something like that. Like you need to have a good story, and then you need to pay attention to specifics. You're not leaving a Starbucks a coffee cup next to the axe because you forgot it and leave it in. You gotta pay attention to all the little things that matter, because all those things are what allow people to fall into your story, and that's
that's
the
right.
key. It's just like going to a big haunted house and then going to one that someone made in a back of a semi this last week, and you like, I know the difference. I can tell what's happening here. So the way it works out.
That's a great way to put it. But you're right. You're 100% right. It's really genre filmmakers, we gotta keep pushing the cool, gritty, and original content, or else it'll stay to the stuff that gets released that was it's there's a reason why people don't take horror seriously, and that's
Right,
when the filmmakers just do the easy way out on
right.
the genre. So we got to continue to elevate it and challenge the audiences. And I think we're on the right path,
I think so
but
too.
still more room for it. So
Well, it's not only that, it's if you can create something a smaller budget and you can show the quality there, that's what Blumhouse is doing, and that's the idea
yeah,
now. If you can kind of create that and deliver it, now everyone's like, done, make it happen and go to the next thing. So who knows, Blumhouse is out there giving stamps to a lot of stuff, and maybe El Gigante might be the next thing that he gives a thumbs up on, right?
let's hope so. Hey, my feature debut with Blumhouse worked out. I'm gonna be like, hey guys, so that one worked out. Did you want to try El Gigante? See if they're up for it. For
I
sure.
think so too. Well, and then he's got a Fade and White to do both English and Spanish language to shoot it twice for the same price. Now you got two different markets, and they're all happy.
There you see? That's why you're a good businessman. You know exactly how to do it.
Right? I'd be the guy selling the tickets at the Gigante wrestling rink.
Yes, I love that.
For sure. All right. Well, I want to thank you very much, and we will talk to you very, very soon, I'm sure.
Sounds good. Really nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.